It's the 2024 Delta McKenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour in our second round of the season, the Black Eagle Darton Pro-Am. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside Darren Christianberry. We're ready for the Pro Pressure Point shoot down here at Uchee Creek in Russell County, Alabama. Senior Known Pro is on deck, which means it's time for P.J. Riley to introduce the archers to the field of play.
All right, here we go. Senior Known Pro. Our fifth place qualifier with a score of 416 from Wapanuka, Oklahoma, shooting for Darton, Chad Hilburn. And our fourth place qualifier with a score of 418 from Pocatello, Idaho, shooting for Hoyt, Rio Wilde. Our third place qualifier with a score of 422 from Uniondale, Indiana, shooting for Elite, Mike Hulburt Sr. And our second place qualifier with a score of 426 and 15 bonus rings from Provo, Utah, shooting for Matthews, Tim Gillingham. Our number one qualifier with a score of 426 and 20 bonus rings from Columbiana, Ohio, shooting for Matthews, Randy Morocco.
What a field of archers we have here for our Senior Known Pro category. And one of the things that we can tell you is how far the targets are away. However, before we do that, let's talk a little bit about some of the scores we've had. Randy Morocco comes in tied with Tim Gillingham, but the difference is, of course, those bonus rings, which are the 12. Darren.
Randy hit a bunch. I mean, to shoot 20 bonus rings, that's 40 up, you know. So he only finished at 26 up. So he made 14 points worth of mistakes. Now, was that 2 5s and 2 8s, or was that 7 8s? I don't know what that is. But to hit 20 bonus rings is quite a feat out there, especially with the weather that we had yesterday. So I know he blistered it today. I don't know. I know he shot a big score. I don't know exactly what it was. So the majority of his round was done today. But still, half the bonus rings, 26 up, he's in a good position.
Okay, so we're looking at Tim Gillingham, of course, who comes in tied on score and down 5 bonus rings to Randy Morocco. It is windy.
Yeah.
Unusual. Normally we're nestled in the woods and all this kind of stuff, but this is Tim Gillingham weather.
Yeah,
for sure.
And Rio Wilde weather. He's shot FITA and all this outdoor stuff for years, so he knows how to read wind. Now, can he read wind on 3D targets? We're about to find out.
Gillingham shooting that new Matthews Title 40, a bow that is unobtainium at this point. It's a unicorn, the only one in existence as we know it. Should be available. There's your leader.
It's quite windy.
It is. It is definitely blowing
see
around.
Right there. I mean, Randy, he hit 20 of those little circles and missed the whole 10 ring, and I believe that's solely because of the wind blowing from left to right.
All right, so our first target is the stand mule deer, and that is a target that's 45 yards downrange. Then we're going to move to our elevation javelina. Now this little javelina is 37 yards downrange, but it is a small target, Darren.
Little. It is little. It's a nasty little target at long distance, so 37's not too bad right there, but when they set that booger at 50 in the woods, it's tough. Good look at Mike Hulburt right there. Solid 10.
So then the third target we have on the range is the Impala. Okay, so the Shibuya Impala, that is 49.9 yards away. That is a 1/10 of a yard shy of our maximum distance here in ASA Pro-Am competition.
We're just going to round that one up to 50.
I think so.
Yeah, we're just going to round that up to 50.
This is the Russian boar. It's the gold tip Russian boar, and that sits 34 yards away from the shooting line.
10 for Rio.
And that's Rio Wilde in with a middle 10. And then we go to the grazing doe. Is that what you call it, the grazing doe?
Yeah, feeding doe, grazing doe. I think that'd work.
43.5 yards downrange. Now, you know, even in this category where you have known distance, you can, you know, grab your rangefinder and you're going to click it. I mean, everybody's going to do that. I think really got to judge this field still with the wind, and I think it's probably a good arrow just to put in a 10, at least in the first one. So then what happens is that each of the archers is going to rotate over one target. So, for instance, our 5th place qualifier,
Chad Hilburn,
he was rotating from our bow doodle grazing doe all the way to the stand mule deer, which is our first target. And then Randy Morocco moves from the stand mule deer to the elevation javelina. And that's the way it works.
Yeah, they'll shoot these 5 targets that we've mentioned in order. They'll rotate through, and then anyone within 10 points of the leader after these 5 regulation targets will get to shoot the last chance archery, last chance arrow. They'll get one more shot and a 6th and final arrow to try to win this tournament.
There's Rio Wilde, just coming back in the United States after being coach for the Korean national compound team for 2023. 14 gold medals to his credit in world archery competition, and Rio called for an upper.
Yeah, I think he smoked it.
And from our vantage point, by the way, it is just pure comedy, because I think Rio is probably the in stature is probably is the shortest one, and he's got Steve Anderson, who is about as tall as Tim Gillingham, holding his umbrella for him. I'm not really sure Steve even needs an umbrella to shield him from the wind.
Yeah, he did that as a planned wind blocker, I'm sure.
He sure did.
First up, Chad Hilburn.
First up, Chad Hilburn
golly, he
goes for the 14 on the stand mule deer.
Make a big move back into the hunt.
And that's a big bonus ring right there. Oof. That is as close as you like it.
He's just off.
Now he is. He's going to be an 8. I like the aggressiveness, though. When you're coming in here in 5th place, you got to go for it. And again, that's a 45-yard poke down there. Now to the elevation javelina. That's going to be Randy Morocco, your leader, and he's going to come in with a 10.
10 is good on that little guy, no matter what.
Our leader, Tim Gillingham, up by 2 points.
Tim Gillingham is up by 2 points. He's your leader, and he's on the Shibuya Impala.
10 for 10.
We can see that one pretty clear for Gillingham. That's a 10.
I would be shocked if Tim made it through these 6 arrows without bonus rings. I would be shocked. He's a different kind of aggressive out there, so he'll shoot at any 14. It doesn't matter to him. If he can see it, he can hit it.
And that is the gold tip Russian boar. And that's going to be wide 8.
8 for Mike.
Now we're going to Rio Wilde, who, by the way, was the only archer I saw that brought his binos up. And he gets a 12 for the bonus ring for Rio, because I think Rio's still learning where to shoot. This is only his 4th ASA competition.
Yeah, he broke the ice. He's at the first 12 of the bunch out there right now.
Some of the best known pro shooters in the world.
And that was of course on the bow doodle grazing doe. That's 43.5 yards. Now Rio's going to move to the stand mule deer. That's 45 yards, so only an extra yard and a half, building the confidence on the long ones. Rio made his career, Darren, shooting 50 meters, which is what, 54.7,
yeah,
54.8 yards?
Just shy of 55 yards, yeah. Yeah, he's shot all over the world on that 50-meter stuff, and he's a, what, 2 or 3-time Vegas champion?
Yeah, 3-time.
Yeah. So no, he's got quite the resume. He's been quite the flatlander, but he's now a 3. He can't say he's not a 3D shooter now. He's a 3D shooter too. So I like it.
That's right. And there's the look at Steve Anderson on the left in Rio Wilde. You can see the size difference there. It's a perfect guy to have, especially when you're the first in line, because it feels like the wind's coming from Steve Anderson's back.
Yeah, it's blowing hard from the shooter's straight left to right. So when you see these right-handed arrows, I'm a firm believer that the wind is moving them.
So it looks like Rio's called for the upper. No, and again, like
Case
Randy
in point.
Morocco.
Case in point right there. That's wind.
Yeah. So that would be, from our vantage point, looks like an 8 for Rio Wilde. You can see that he had tied himself for 3rd place. So it's Gillingham still up by 2 before we scored this round of arrows.
for Rio on the mule deer.
So for Wilde, he gave that back. So we kind of look at that of 12 to 8 is kind of two par, right? Like,
Yeah.
You know, just getting that 20.
8 for Chad.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if that's a straight right or straight low of that 14. I'm assuming it's low of the 14. So it was an 8 for Chad, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Currently sitting 2
Good look at Randy.
with a dominant
I think he's shooting out. Is that a phase 4? Is he shooting last year's hunting bow from Matthews, maybe?
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Must have been a 10 for Randy on that.
The Russian boar for Tim Gillingham, our leader.
Yep, they pulled the 10 out of the Impala for Randy. Now we're at Tim.
Going for, I think he's on the gold tip Russian boar.
10 for Tim.
10 for Tim.
Don't you let me down, Gillingham. I said you'd make it through here with a bonus ring. Don't
Yeah.
you let me down.
Hulburt currently at 440.
So this is going to be Hulburt
10 for Mike.
on the Bow Doodle grazing doe, and that's a 10. So in terms of the battle for third, he's now going to pull away from Rio by a couple points.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast this goes. We've already shot 3 of the 5. They're getting ready to shoot their 4th arrow already. So if it seems like it's going fast from our seat and on the television, it's definitely going fast out there for these guys. So if you're going to make a move, you're running out of time.
Senior No Pro, 4th arrow getting ready to be shot here at our second round of the 2024 Delta McKenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour. This is the Black Eagle Darton Pro-Am. It's a pro pressure point shoot down Raducci Creek in front of a large crowd that has come out when it's actually starting to dry out a smidge. It was brutal yesterday with rain, and this morning it was muddy though. The rain held off for most of the shooters. Very flat lighting in the qualification area. Now we're here at the finals venue, and the 1 minute clock to shoot your arrow just began. You can see
Pretty bright sunlight out there now. We've not seen a lot of that.
what's that going to do to the way you're looking through your peep sight and your scope.
It can definitely change the light as you're perceiving it through there, but it also changes and puts different shadows and brightness on the target, so it can also make it harder to aim on some of these animals.
The middle looks like Gillingham on that Bodoodle grazing doe was going for a 12 and just missed it.
Good look at Hulburt Sr., and he hit right as well. Everybody that's shooting that mule deer over close to the river is hitting right.
Mike Hulburt moves him to 458.
8 for Hulburt.
Okay. Now we go to Rio Wilde, who's on that elevation javelina.
8 for Rio.
8 for Rio. He hit right as well.
That's a missed opportunity for Rio because he could have gotten those points back on Hulburt.
So Tim's still in the lead, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so
A little help. We're back within 10 points of our lead.
Because really, Morocco just gave him those 2 points at the beginning. So that's been the difference. It's been all 10s.
10 for Chad on the Shibuya Impala.
Ray Morocco.
So let's see what Randy and Tim did here.
He's looking for that.
Did he call upper?
He's here.
Randy Morocco, it looked like he did.
He did. Uh-oh.
Okay.
466.
So now if Gillingham's isn't a 12 and it's a 10,
They're back tied.
they're back tied, and Morocco would take the lead on bonus rings.
Oof. They're looking hard. That is an upper call, too.
It is.
Man, that's close.
Ooh, man.
And I'm sure Tim's shooting triple X's on gold tip. That's a big old fat arrow.
Gosh.
That's close.
That is probably one of the closest I've ever seen.
Because it's got the target broke there at the 8 o'clock.
12 for
Yeah,
He got
I
it. Ah.
thought it was a 12.
Wow, he did get it.
Wow.
the lead on bonus.
That's by 0.01 millimeters.
Yeah.
All right, so that should still have Gillingham with a 2-point advantage over Randy Morocco.
Randy Morocco 466 and 21 bonus.
So 466 for Randy Morocco after that 12.
13 bonus rings.
So you see it there, Gillingham 468, Morocco 466, Hulburt still in third place at a 58, Rio Wilde still in fourth. So let's take a look at Randy Morocco and see what he's going to do. So Morocco is on the Bodoodle grazing doe. That's 43.5 yards away. You got to add yourself. We got to add to the equation at this point the wind, and all of a sudden now we got to add the sun.
Yeah.
And Darren, for Randy Morocco, we were talking before this match started, and he said he's lost so much off of his sight tape that he goes to his number and then has to add 28 clicks.
For why?
I don't know. That's what his process is. Because he lost some speed. I don't know, that, you know, from maybe where he set his sight tape to here is more humid. Obviously, the rain slowed everything down.
He must not have changed his indicator needle then. He's just doing the math.
Yeah, he is.
Well, if he called upper,
He
it looks
call
like
upper.
he got it.
10.
Tim is just a 10, so they're going to go into the final arrow tied. This is going to be interesting. There's Tim.
I don't think you liked the shot either.
No, he wasn't happy about where it landed.
But look, here's the thing. He wasn't happy where it landed on the stand mule deer, but everybody's been missing that right. Look how many.
Yeah.
There were 3 arrows you could see in the 8 ring that were all right next to each other on that stand mule deer. So I know Tim's disappointed. I understand that. But really, if you look at the shooters that came before him, he got away with it.
He actually got 2 points on the whole field right there because everybody else shot an 8.
Yeah, agreed.
12 for Mike Hulburt.
12 for
Hulburt.
Hulburt.
Well, that's going to ensure third place for him, I would think.
Final arrow. Rio needs at least a 12 here to stay within 10 points of our leader.
Wilde needs a 12 to stay within points. I'm not sure he got it. No. That one again went right for him. He's in the middle, so that's the Shibuya Impala. But look, for your 4th time at ASA competition, coming back after a year off of shooting, not bad for the GOAT.
Just making the shoot off is a feat. You know, then you got to, like we mentioned earlier, you got to catch some breaks. You know, which target do you lead? You know, how hard's the wind blowing when you're shooting the 50-yarders?
Let me ask you, Darren, though. If you're Rio Wilde and your boss decides to hold your umbrella for you, does that put a little extra pressure on it?
Nah.
Steve Anderson?
Nah, well, it shouldn't, you know.
I know you've done it for a couple your shooters over the years.
Yeah. That's a good arrow right there, Randy Morocco. That's a good arrow.
All right, gentlemen. Right now we're sitting with our leaders.
They'll tally it up, but I'm pretty sure we're tied going into the 6th arrow.
Yeah, 78 for Morocco.
So bonus ring's going to break the tie, which is going to be Randy. Randy's going to get a shoot last. So Tim can force the issue, but Randy's going to know what he has to do when his time comes.
Randy's at 22 bonus rings, and Gillingham is at 16 bonus rings. That's cumulative from yesterday's qualification, this morning's qualification round, and what we get here in our pro pressure point shoot down. All right, so now we're going to break out as we have the shooters that are within 10 points. So it looks like it's going to be 3 shooters?
I believe so. Mike shot a 12, so that's going to put him at a 70. Randy shot a 12, that'll put him at a 78. So Mike will be within 8 of Randy and Tim, so he will get to shoot this last arrow.
All right, so it's going to be Morocco, Gillingham, and Hulburt in our last chance archery, last chance arrow. And that is going to be the hyena. Where they place it and where they place the archers is still yet to be decided, as those archers that are exiting the field, Rio Wilde and Chad Hilburn, collecting their arrows, they're going to be taken off. Those will go a little quicker than the match beforehand, because once the targets get set and once the shooting area gets defined, it's just going to be range find, set your sight, grab some binos, and go.
Did he say? I think I heard Mike say they were shooting the Impala.
Oh, is that what they're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've changed it up?
Yeah, you can see on that 14 there, the high right ring, it's like rolled. There's a good look at how much it's rolled, so it actually reduces the size of that. I would much rather have shot the hyena than that right there, because it's rolled up top, so it's not as big as that big flat 14 on that hyena, and obviously not as easy to see, no big black dots near it.
And this really now goes to our last chance archery, last chance arrow. Difficult in these windy conditions to bring our signage out that we normally have, because it is going to blow across the field. But so these 3 archers are going to get a chance to range find, set your sight.
Mike, whenever you're ready, jump up there, my friend.
Mike's got 3rd place wrapped up, so he's on the podium. 14, Mike.
That's it. Go for the 14.
He's put out the upper cone to say he's shooting at the upper.
Think that's one of those things you go for the 14 maybe?
I think it's one of those things that maybe say, okay, I want to try to 14 this. I'm going to get to full draw. But if I can't hold my pin very steady or the wind's blowing me all over the target, I'm going to default to the upper 12 and just move straight over and shoot it. I think that's the thought process on that. I'm not certain. I've never put the cone out saying, okay, I'm going to shoot the upper and then shoot the 14. I personally have not done that. So I'm guessing that's the strategy behind it.
Uniondale, Indiana, works for GM, also owns Bowman's Archery in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's going for it. And by the way, his favorite snack, Snicker bar. Appreciate that. As he goes for it.
He went for it.
Loved the shot. Looks like it crawled just a little bit high left.
Left of it, I think, but what a good run at it.
And definitely, had he gotten that, the fans would have erupted here. Because everyone who's in this audience understands how difficult it is to hit a 14. Especially with the wind, and now all of a sudden you've introduced sun for the first time this weekend.
Yeah.
At least if you're these classes that are coming up, now you're looking at it going, okay, if these archers coming off the field, I would definitely be like, so how'd the sun affect your setup? Are you hitting left? Are you hitting right? Because it can happen, folks.
Yeah. Tim's in an interesting spot. I'm wondering what's going through his head right now because he's tied with Randy. Randy gets to go last. So if Tim steps up and shoots a 12, Randy has to shoot a 12 to tie or 14 to win. If Tim wants to go for the 14, he forces Randy to shoot the 14, which is much harder to hit, in my opinion. But it's harder to hit for Tim, too. So he's in an interesting spot.
I will tell you this about Tim Gillingham. He is an outstanding wind shooter. His mind gets occupied with this shot, with where the wind's blowing, the movement on it. If there's anyone who can hit this 14, it's going to be him. The question is he going to go for it? Is he going to risk it all?
What he's thinking.
Middle.
So Randy has to shoot a 10 to tie, 12 to win. I wondered if he wouldn't do that because the wind's tricky.
I think Tim was probably just going for that 12.
Yeah, if he hits the 12, yeah, Randy has to hit a ring to win. If he shoots at the 14 and shoots an 8 or a 5, then Randy just needs a 10 to win, which is much easier to hit in this wind. So
10 to win because they'll tie on score, and Randy's got more bonus rings.
Right? Yeah. Randy can win it outright with a bonus ring. We'll shoot another arrow, I believe, be closest to center if we go to another one.
Oh, okay.
If he shoots a 10 here, we'll still be tied.
Ooh, we didn't like that shot.
He got a 10.
Okay.
So now, I believe they will put a mark on either the 12 ring or the center of the 10.
Yep.
And we'll shoot one arrow closest to center. Score does not matter. Whoever's closest to the middle, regardless of score, should win, I believe.
Nope. Sorry. Didn't mean to correct you. He wins on bonus rings.
Oh, he does.
The tie is if they were tied on bonus rings.
That's right.
when they go closest to the center.
You're right. You're right. My bad. My bad.
No, that's the one thing that I always get tripped up on that as well.
Yep.
So Randy Morocco is your outright winner here at the Black Eagle Darton Pro-Am. And he wins it from first place. And he was in first place at 426. And so for Randy Morocco, able to get that one, carrying the big bonus ring score all the way through. All right, so we're going to talk to Randy real quick. We're going to get a question in for him because, boy, there's actually a storyline for Randy Morocco and this particular big win for him. And so let's talk to Randy. Let's get that headset on him really quickly. So, Randy, congratulations. Outstanding win. Coming off of some surgery, fresh, right?
Yep, about 3 weeks ago. I got my gallbladder taken out, so it's been quite a ride.
How was that, though, the pressure just to get that 10 in the final?
I'd rather be crazy nervous in here than, relaxed on a couch. But, it's amazing how much that thing shrinks when you have a lot of money and a win on the line. So I'm still kind of shaking a bit, to be honest with you.
Well, you did it. Congratulations. Go enjoy your victory. Randy Morocco with the big win here at Uchi Creek. Well, outstanding job for Randy Morocco, and Tim Gillingham brought it down all the way to the wire. But we still have more archery on deck for you. After this, we're going to be lining up the Women's Known Pro category. You don't want to miss that.